Palm Springs, California has long been recognized as a bastion of fun in the sun, an oasis from the hubbub of the big city. Just a 2-hour drive from Long Beach, Palm Springs is quickly becoming the latest outpost for contemporary art in the western United States.
Well, the idea was to demonstrate that there is a serious art buying market here in the desert. It's called
Richard Friedman is the founder and director of the Palm Springs Fine Art Fair.
And we have been able to demonstrate now in the second year that we can, pull together 58 galleries from around the world. Actually, they're from 26 cities and 3 countries. And last night we had 2,500 people here. So we're anticipating we may get over 10,000 people this weekend. That there's a real art buying market here in the desert, and millions of dollars in sales. And this is like Los Angeles, the desert. So we think this is a great spot to shop and buy and see art. And so we're saying it's LA meets San Diego meets Scottsdale meets Santa Fe here.
As it also marks the beginning of Palm Springs Modernism Week, the location and popularity of the show is not lost on those in the know. Peter Feller is the publisher of Art Ltd. magazine.
We identified a void in the contemporary art market, and as far as magazines, your national magazines and international magazines really weren't covering the West Coast. So we started off covering the West Coast and now all the Western states, and now we've moved into the Midwestern states. And we're here supporting Rick, who's doing a wonderful job now in the second year now at the Palm Springs Fine Art Fair. It was very obvious last night at the opening how many people were here. It was amazing. You looked down any aisle and it was packed, and the quality of people as well, which was very impressive. And even a lot of the people the skeptics who weren't sure about Palm Springs as a destination for an art fair, saw them all here last night walking around saying what a wonderful fair it was. And what's interesting about Palm Springs at this time of the year is it's not just about LA and San Diego and Orange County. So many people, as we sign up subscribers to the magazine here, Vancouver, Milwaukee, Chicago, a lot of your snowbirds are here that have the second and third homes here, and they here and they have new homes and they need things to go on their walls, and they're here buying art, which is a wonderful thing.
And Peter's magazine, Art Ltd., is doing a fine job to get the word out, as Rick Friedman will attest.
Because most of the publishers are in New York, and frankly their readership is, let's say, First Avenue to maybe Madison Avenue, and that's about as far west as they go as maybe Madison Avenue. So maybe they got some readers on 7th and 8th Avenue, but not very many. So there's a void around America, and I think Peter's filling the void here.
Sometimes playful, sometimes serious, often thought-provoking. The quality and diversity of the work on display is breathtaking. I was especially delighted to see the work of 2 artists I've had the pleasure to work with in the past. One of my favorites and a good friend for years is Neil Nagy. Here today with Christian Hoffman Fine Art. I know that Neil is one of our best use of color. When you think the picture is even black and white, you look closely, it is just filled with color. Very proud to see him here. One artist I wanted to point out that's shown in Long Beach that I was lucky enough through Phantom Galleries to be able to represent is Kimber Berry. So wonderful to see her stuff. It's multi-dimensional, almost looks like stickers and life that comes off the canvas. And it's why we wanted to be here today, to show you that Southern California artists really are up and coming, are standing proud in the world, and Long Beach is part of that. What is art? How does one approach it? How does one interpret it? Those may be some of the most terrifying questions ever posed by man. And yet, our need to understand is usually stronger than the fear that might drive us away.
I like a hell of a lot of art, or at least I am interested in a hell of a lot of art.
Peter Frank is a renowned and respected writer and art critic. He and a handful of intrepid followers faced those questions head-on.
Art is a realm of discourse. If you hang it on the wall and call it art, it's art. But if you hang it on the wall and call it good, that doesn't make it good.
What, then, makes a work of art good and not merely shallow or gimmicky?
Gimmick, in an objective sense, can be simply a hook, a thing that pulls you in and drops you into an experience that is a lot bigger than the gimmick. That's where work that is gimmicky differentiates itself or rises above work that is merely gimmicky. There's a lot of work here that is gimmick driven, but is bigger than its gimmick. A minority of work is gimmicky, and that's all you get.
We set out to find examples.
These are relatively easy works to grasp in terms of both visual effect and technique. Which to you makes use of its gimmick perhaps more cogently?
He cautions against dismissing one work for another without asking questions first.
This one is more intriguing. First of all, caught my eye quicker because of the color.
Yeah.
Okay, and you see something else in there besides just the shirt, which is what the first thing you see.
Right.
But you see an animal.
Okay. Now, it caught your eye immediately because of the color. This was more subtle.
Right.
So that in itself might not be a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
It's a good thing for getting this thing sold.
Right.
But is it a good thing for getting
art.
this thing thought about?
I relate to these on an emotional level, though.
How
I mean,
so?
well, the act of a kiss, somebody looking at you. I mean, those evoke emotional reactions.
But doesn't a shirt like this have? The reaction may be emotional connections, may be more specific. But don't you have some sort of emotional or memory connection to a t-shirt like this?
And the more questions you ask, the more intently you find yourself looking at and thinking about the work.
Whatever you think of these things, they're tempting. Whether you think these images, these objects are conveying complexity of experience, they are definitely trying to.
There are certainly as many ways to convey the human experience as there are artists doing the conveying. Peter Frank explains how the abstract might be able to reveal that shared experience.
Now, this is the kind of painting I grew up with. Raymond Johnson. He was central to the group of abstract painters who emerged before the war, called the Transcendentalists. A group of abstractionists who come out of thinking of Kandinsky, etc., and who invest purely non-objective forms, mostly geometric, but quite intricate as well, with a kind of, as the name of the group indicates, transcendental quality, and that looking at this will make you think about more than this. Interestingly, this work insists on just the opposite, that there is nothing here but what you see, and what you see itself will provide a transcendental condition. That there's no spiritual resonance to a shape, but there is a spiritual resonance to the cohesion of shapes and marks that any given artist might put together, whether it's the active gesturality of Joan Mitchell working in an abstract expressionist context, or the color field work of this Olitsky.
Do you like this?
That's right. Yes, I do.
The follow-up question is why? What makes a piece of abstract work like that good to you?
The field, the scale, and the power of the gesture, and the interaction with the colors.
Do you find yourself looking at something like this and say, I like that, and then upon studying it, realizing why you liked it?
Yes. Quite often that may be a matter of, I like this, turning around and coming back to it the next day and saying, I wonder why, and going into it. Or, noticing something different than I did the first time and saying, oh, and pulling in. Or just going by it several times and picking up something different each time. The great thing about any good artwork is that it's at once a whole and a sum of parts.
The more you look, the more there is to see.
Don't deny yourself the chance to savor.
The message is clear. Patience and a thoughtful approach will yield a deeper appreciation and a better understanding of whatever's before you. For the frustrated few who still feel they don't quite get it, Peter's never at a loss when it comes to words of encouragement.
I do believe that all of us have some sort of innate orientation towards the production of aesthetic experience.
This innate orientation does not apply exclusively to art. It's a natural response to anything that speaks to the human experience.
If I walk into the forest,
Into the forest?
into a forest,
Yeah.
particularly the forest, anywhere I look, I'm going to see patterns that have every characteristic that you just described.
Right.
Why is one art and the other not? Or
Both.
is it even?
It actually is, because that response to the forest is the human response that turns into art.
Like the old saying that says you only get out what you put in, when it comes to the appreciation of art, a rewarding experience is only equal to the effort you're willing to invest.
Keep in mind that it is a craft as well as an art, and that it is, and you have a responsibility to it more than it has a responsibility to you. Okay? Thank you very much. I enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Great place.
Excellent job.
After the tour, I asked Peter what he's been up to lately. Well, what's going on with Riverside right now? Are you
I'm not.
you're not curating there anymore?
I'm not affiliated with there anymore. But I just had lunch with them yesterday, talking about they want me to do they want me to do a couple of shows as an outside curator.
You're still working with Art Ltd at all?
Oh yeah,
You guys still one of the
I'm
head
still
writers
working.
and
I'm a contributing editor.
with that?
Proud of it. Just followed a review of the Breaking the Picture show at the MoCA.
Very good. Hey, I love your writing. You do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a great command of the language, so you do have an art yourself.
I'm aware. I became aware of that, and although in a certain way I was always aware of that because I'm from a family of writers. So I'm carrying on the family business.
And the expectation of wit at the dinner table, I take it.
Oh yeah.
Good. Well, thank you. I'll
My
see
pleasure.
you. We're going to do the Palm Springs Fine Art Fair has shown us the depth of talent around the world. Peter Feller's Art Ltd. magazine proves there's no lack of talent in the Western United States. I would take it even further. The harbor area, which includes Long Beach and San Pedro, has more artists per capita than any city in the United States. The pool of talent concentrated in such a compact region is impressive. The mutual support and collision of ideas make for exciting innovations among our artists. So while I soak up the Palm Springs sun and bask in the beauty of this wonderful art, I find myself asking, why aren't we doing this in Long Beach with our artists?